When you want to install software using group policy, it's very simple. You see, the process of creating group policy is straightforward. You create the object, you edit it, you apply security templates, you link the objects, and then you run the GP updates. That is the process for creating group policies. But then there are some few things that some policies may require you to do. So when it comes to installing, for example, the installation of softwares, one of the things that you have to do is, first and foremost, the software has to be a Microsoft software installation file. So you can't use just an executable file. It has to be an MSI file. That is the first thing that you need to do. So you need an MSI file to do deployment. And then you also have to create what we call a deployment share. Are we okay? You have to create what we call a deployment share. Again, this is grammar. Mostly I don't like talking about these things in there. So let's just go straight forward to the point. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to go to the DC1 because we already have a share folder there. We will do this from the drive on the DC1. All right. Okay, so I'm going to power on my DC1. And then I'll also power on the client. But if anyone has a question from yesterday's session too, as we go along, you can just type it in the chat and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so DC1 is ready. All right, so we are here. Now, when you want to create a policy for installing softwares, you know, by default, once you join any system to the domain, automatically, you cannot, the client systems cannot install softwares. So what this means is that if any user needs a software installed, the user will first have to come to the administrator for the administrator to assist them to do the installation. So most of the time, what is done is the organization needs to have a policy that outlines the kind of softwares they are going to have in their environment. And so once these softwares have been identified, it's up to the IT guys to make sure that these softwares are available on the user system, and then adhere to the policy that any software that is not on the system means it is not supposed to be on the system unless there is a business justification for that software to be installed in the environment. If not, then you do not have to install the software. That is the reason why in the Windows environment, once any system is joined to the domain, automatically the user can't install a software. It has to go through the administrator, unless maybe there is a vulnerability the person is exploiting. If not, then the user is not supposed to be able to install softwares. So if you are planning on being an admin, then you need to make sure that you document all the softwares that every department will require, and then you provision those softwares to make them available. So most of the time, what we do in system administration is that, because if you are starting from scratch, you can create an image.
Listen,
Please
what I sent you is that, you know, the guy over here who is my competition over here did that query. Okay.
All right, so please, when you join, try and mute yourself. All right, so where was I? Yeah, so I was saying that most of the time, what happens is that in the real life environment, if the environment is fresh, what administrators can do is that they can prepare one system, install all the softwares that will be needed on that system. Then they will create an image of that particular system. and then use that one to deploy onto all the other systems in the environment. In that case, once the system is installed, automatically we'll have all the softwares that are required on it. If not, then the other thing that you can do is Microsoft has a tool called ADK, automated Windows automated something tool, deployment tool. Are we okay? And what this deployment tool does is that it allows you to set up a system and then move the settings of that system, and then you can use those settings on other systems. So that is also something that you can do depending on what the environment requires. But first and foremost, there has to be a policy that defines what softwares are allowed in the environment. And then you have to make sure as an admin, you provision those softwares for the people. You should not be a lazy admin. There are some administrators that when the people come and disturb them, they just make those people administrators so the people can install whatever software they want to install. If your environment is a very sensitive environment, then you are going to put yourself in trouble. All right. So I'm going to first create what we call our deployment share. The deployment share is basically a software that you want the people to access a folder that you want the people to access the software from. So we can call this softwares. And then once you create the folder, you have to share it. So you right click, go to properties, and then sharing, advanced sharing, share this folder. Permissions, yes. Again, you don't want everyone. So you click add, and then add authenticated users. Authenticated users, you click OK. And then OK. And it's software installation. So all they need is read. Once you have read, you should be able to install the software. They don't need modify or anything. They just need read. So you click OK, apply. Okay. Then we come to the security tab. The users are already here and they already have read and then special permissions. Which special permission is that? The users have read and then execute and a special permission. I don't know which exact special permission is that. And because it is an inherited permission, so you see they can create files, they can create folders in it, and you don't want your people to be able to create folders in it. So what you would want to do is you would want to disable inheritance. If not, these people will start putting things in this particular folder that you have created. So like we did in the last session, we'll convert the inherited permissions to explicit permissions. And then we will remove, no, we have to first apply or click OK so that it is applied. Then we go back to edit, sorry, advanced. Or even edit, just remove them from here. Remove them. And then we will now add the authenticated users. But I hope you understand why I had to disable the inheritance. So with this also, it means that they have read. That is all. That's all that they need. So what I have done is I have downloaded a software. Ernestina, your hand is up.
Yes, please. So like you disabled the inheritance because we had a special what was it called again?